So, yeah, it's one of those things that I think is, listening to people talk about the session in England and the way, it's a really fine line, because after the Trent Bridge, that second test match, everyone was just up in arms at the style and the tempo that England played at and how things went. You can't play like that all the time.
And I think that
it's too hard to play like that against England.
I think Brendan McCullum knows that too. He's talked about the idea that it's not going to work every single day. Bowling here is Southee to Bairstow again, leaving alone. That's a bit wider. But he trusts them to make those decisions. He's trying to put a lot of faith in the hands of the players themselves.
But it's also important not to box everyone into playing the same way, because everyone's got their own X factor.
Yeah.
Everyone bats differently. He's got different strengths, different weaknesses. So they have to work that out for themselves and then find the game within that parameter. But, yeah, I mean,
we better get used to it.
Yeah.
It'll be uncomfortable watching at time for England fans, I'm sure. But New Zealand taking advantage today. Southee finishing his over. Bairstow square driving out behind point. Gets a single, retains the strike, the only run of the first over after tea. 92 for 6, Bairstow's up to 34. We'll go round the grounds, if you like, between overs. Australia are playing a one-day international at Colombo against Sri Lanka, the fifth and final 50-over game of their series. Sri Lanka were all out 160 earlier today, with Hazelwood, Kuhnemann and Cummins all taking 2 wickets. Maxwell and Green 1 apiece. And they are 108 for 5, so they need 53 runs from 20 overs, with Alex Carey there on 27. Glenn Maxwell new to the crease, 4 not out. Top scoring so far is Labuschagne on 31. So not the most clinical display with the bat, but most of the way to the finish line, and that would make it a 3-2 series loss for Australia ahead of the 2 test matches that start next week. I think Wednesday's the first test. We'll be out there on SENZ and SEN across Australia and New Zealand. Myself and Jeremy Coney from our team making the trip when this test ends. A team that includes Jeff Lemon, Russell Arnold, Andrew Fidel-Fernando, H.D. Ackerman, Bharat Sundaresan, all fired up and ready to go in Gaul as of next Wednesday. First over after tea is going to be bowled by Trent Boult. They've changed ends, Macca.
They have. Interesting. See if there's any swing.
Replacing Wagner, who picked up 2 wickets before. Bolt's got 3. In here to Bairstow. First ball defended from the leg stump down to mid-wicket, no run.
Again, different from what we saw yesterday with England. They opened up after the tea break with Jack Leach and Joe Root. New Zealand have gone back to their 2 best bowlers. They've got England in a spot of trouble at 92 for 6, and they've gone back to Southee and Boult because they are the 2 Gus. They're not going to give England a chance to try and get out of this hole that they've dug for themselves.
Yeah, not like after tea yesterday when they got to face some gentle off-spin from Joe Root. Very different dynamic here now. Pass up by Kettlebrook. Boult delivers, and pulling is Bairstow out behind square. The sweeper there, nicely cut off on the rope. Devon Conway keeps it to a couple, saves 2. So 2 men out for the short ball. In fact, they only get a single there. Really good fielding from Conway. Bairstow is 35, 93 for 6, England.
You do have to say, though, that the one big shift that I've seen in this England side that McCullum has brought in so far in this series has just been a mental shift in terms of the positivity to go out and play winning cricket. And we didn't see that in the series last year against New Zealand. It wasn't there. We didn't see it in that first test last year at Lords when they had the chance to chase. So McCullum has done that, and that is going to be a good and positive shift for this England side moving forward.
The third catcher into the cordon with Overton on strike. So Mitchell, Nichols and Southee waiting alongside Blundell. Boult left arm over, bowls to Overton, who defends from the crease back down the pitch. Yeah, and you detect that talking to the England players, and they're not criticising Chris Silverwood, by the way. They're not going out to be vindictive, but they're just making that, I suppose, that broad point that they feel different now. The dressing room feels fundamentally as though it's changed.
And sometimes when you have a change of coach, that coach can be pretty much saying the same thing that the previous coach said, but it's a different voice.
Sun's back out here at Leeds. Boult on the approach. Bowls to Overton, who defends competently. Nice front elbow, nice and high.
He looks pretty solid, Jamie Overton, I have to say, with the bat. I know Craig Overton's pretty useful as well.
Yeah, Jamie Overton and Craig Overton, they're both seen as, it might be generous to call Jamie a bowling all-rounder, but you look at his sort of first-class numbers. He does average 21. He's got a century, 11 50s, so no mug, you would say, at the level below.
He's coming at number 8 in this England lineup, isn't he?
So in ahead of Potts. Bolt delivers and Overton struck on the pad. Looks like a pitched outside leg, and that's the assessment of Richard Kettleborough as well. Trent Bolt takes a look over to Kane Williamson, but I don't think he's getting that reviewed.
I think this is close.
Well, you see, actually, it's Blundell who thinks it's close, and Williamson's asking whether he's hit it. 9 seconds to go. They've got 2 rears up their sleeve, and they're going.
Well, he doesn't hit it, it's out.
The body language there, my sense was Bolt wasn't convinced himself, and then he walked down the pitch and looked very closely at Tom Blundell, and then Blundell looked at Williamson. That was the transaction.
It's only an inside edge, and I guess we'll get to see that rather quickly. If there's no inside edge, I think this is going to be good for New Zealand.
So watching it back, talk us through the first replay, Craig.
Just a hint of in swing to the right-hander, or maybe it's missing leg stump. I'll tell you what, there's no inside edge. It might be umpire's call. It might be clipping leg stump.
You can see middle and off stump when ball hits pad. So my sense is that it's going to have to be doing something pretty special to be hitting flush.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Here we are watching it back. A pitch in line with middle. That movement back to the right-hander. A second red, but yes, missing the leg stump.
Not far away.
Yep, so New Zealand have lost 2 of their 3 available reviews.
Yeah.
Umpire Kettleborough is proved correct yet again.
Good decision.
Stays at 93 for 6.
Wasn't far away, was it?
Yeah.
And it's that shape. It's a tough one, but the keeper was certainly the one that kept the check going.
Yeah.
As if he thought that it was worth a review. And that's what Overton's going to have to be careful with, playing around that front pad. He's a big, tall guy, so he doesn't bend that front knee when he comes forward. It's nice and straight, so he's got to make sure he gets that weight going forward.
He's also got to catch him mid-wicket for Overton. Bolt delivers here, last ball of the over, and that's where the ball ends up. Placed down towards Nichols in that mid-wicket region. 22 overs gone on SENZ. Test cricket for Razeen, the Kiwis trust. 93 for 6 the score.
Does Kennard's make trade easy? Kenoth. Is iced coffee liquid gold milk straight from the udders of heaven? Kenoth. Do tradies deserve special treatment like a 2-hour delivery promise, equipment swap and service on site, an express load and go service, and a heaps more at their local Kennard's Hire branch? Kenoth! Head to your closest branch to get the trade easy experience.
Kennard's make your job easy.
Of course, throughout the final session, text in New Zealand 8833. Tell us your name, where you're listening to New Zealand's fantastic performance with the ball, and you go into the hat to win a $50 food and drink voucher thanks to the Good Spirits Hospitality Group. Check out the Fox, Auckland's #1 sports bar, or any of their other 10 venues. I'll tell you what, Macca, I've said that so many times, I can't wait to get to the Fox. When I'm back in New Zealand, good spot, I'll be there. Here's Saudi, new over, bowling the Bairstow on 35. Leaves the first ball alone through the wicketkeeper's gloves.
I have to admit, Adam, I have been there a couple of times over the years, and yeah, you'll enjoy it. It's a good spot.
Got a number of texts in from those who are enjoying the collapse before. I'll try and read out a couple through the course of the over. One here from Mudgee in Havelock North. Heads should roll for the non-selection of Wagner in the first 2 test matches. Proven today ridiculous. And his assessment is that it's cost New Zealand the series. Big call, but